Hi guys, and welcome again to the next episode in our series, Clouds, a Lesson, a Blessing, and an Opportunity. Tonight, I wanted to look at one of the most insidious manipulations in our modern world, and that is the mass psychosis, especially through the means of totalitarian governments. Now, diseases of the body, as we all know, as we're all very intimately aware of at this stage, spread like wildfire at times. But also, diseases of the mind spread even faster. Hello, Angela. Thanks for joining us tonight. And thanks for everyone joining us tonight. And basically what we're saying is that the most dangerous manipulation of government, of rule, is a totalitarian regime. And mass psychosis in general are the most unusual phenomena. I mean, through time, through history, there's been so many examples of them. Laughing manias that have stricken many hundreds of people. In one particular convent, there was a meowing psychosis where the nuns all meowed for no apparent reason. Very, very bizarre. But those are in some ways laughable. I mean, they're not laughable because some of those result in actual death. But the way a government, a totalitarian regime, manipulates people is through their psychology and spreading witch hunts, the belief in genocide, belief that one element of our society that may live within our community is abhorrent in some way and dangerous. And all these totalitarian regimes, and in the 21st century, for instance, the Nazis, Stalinism, and Maoism, and very heavily controlled societies like this, spread their manipulation through concepts around health and ill health of one section of the community and good health of the other. And the belief that one element of the community can infect another, not necessarily by diseases, but by thoughts, by freedoms, as they say it. We can see very, very clearly in the 60s and 70s, the gulags in the USSR, and the total destruction of any dissidents that might disagree with the policies of the state. So what does a totalitarian state mean? It means centralized state power, a very, very strong hand from a central base of people. A Politburo, for instance, the Nazi Party, for instance. Huge censorship. You're not allowed to speak against the common narrative. Propaganda, huge propaganda being pumped at you constantly and consistently. The obliteration of human rights. So what we stand for as people, our beliefs, our morality is completely destroyed and crushed, in fact, by the regime. So with a totalitarian state, with a totalitarian ruler, there is the ruler and the ruled, and never the twain shall meet. These are the rulers are the intelligentsia, the ones who know, the ones who are strong, the ones who are intelligent, and the rest, those that are ruled, are absolutely inferior in many, many ways. And the totalitarian state rules by dependency and submission. So you become dependent to the state for its care, shall we say, or its protection. And you become submissive, childlike in many ways, to the power of the state. You are, in fact, powerless. Regressed to the level of childhood, shall we say. Your basic human rights, as I said, are destroyed, so therefore the people, the psychology of the people, the psyche of the people is destroyed. Therefore, they become submissive and in turn become the policers of the larger state force. And this is where the psychosis comes into it, that the totalitarian regime changes our psyche, changes our values, our morals, our ethics. And anyone living in that totalitarian state, generally, there are dissidents, generally, but they're usually on a smaller level. But it's like, in some ways, a religion. And we can see that very clearly in the USSR, where communism could justify anything for the perpetuation of the state. And the workings of the party, their end goals, which is power and domination, after all, of a very small amount of people. And the people, the ruled, become the police. They become those that police the norms and values of the state, which is again a complete switch from their own natural human rights, human beliefs, morals, values, family values, all these sorts of things. And in that way, the culture becomes, in some ways, schizophrenic. Milgram, in the 60s, did a study on why the Nazis, the German people, would follow the rule of the Nazis. And it was a study on authority and belief and doing what you're told. And Milgram found that there wasn't anything particularly deficient in the German people. Everyone is like that. The study was carried out in the United States, and people in the United States, they followed authority to the same level, even to that stage where death could occur from their actions. And if death did occur in their mind, obviously death didn't occur, but they believed it did, obviously they could justify that. Well, it wasn't my fault, I was just following orders, I was told to do this, therefore I am not to blame, I am not a murderer. Which makes you think, to what levels will we follow authority, what we're told? The totalitarian state is built on delusions, fear of infection from external agents or perhaps the enemy within. And that becomes the driving force in the propaganda machine as they begin to take control over the populace. The populace become more and more and more fearful. And in that fear, they become more manipulatable, more malleable. And this suits the ends of the party. Ultimately, in the minds of the ruled, they have an absolute, total right to rule and impose their will on other people. They may have a moral argument that probably doesn't hold any water. They may have the belief that they are of a particular bloodline or class system that is in place to rule other people, less intelligent people, as they would suggest. But the way it's done, the way it's carried out, is very skillful. And it's the same in many totalitarian regimes. There is this fear that is pumped out about a particular thing. In Nazi Germany, it was that the Jewish people are infecting the rest of society by their greed and their belief system and their evil. And the German people then in turn Given their economic status coming out of World War I and being very manipulatable, they then bought this wholesale and turned against the Jews. And we all know what happened there. In Stalinist Russia, same thing. Fear, fear, fear. Fear that the West will take away our power. And anyone who raises a finger to say, well, actually, well, maybe, is completely shut out and censored. Fear dominates. Fear dominates us all. Negative emotions. And the way it's carried out is that these fear in Stalinist Russia and Nazi Germany and totalitarian regimes, they come in waves. There's a first fear panic, and then that's allowed to subside somewhat. And then the next one comes up, and that subsides somewhat. And then the next one. And each time becoming more and more and more severe. Taking away people's liberties, taking away people's businesses, their ability to provide for themselves. Placing doubt in people's minds about their own health, or their own life, in fact, or death. They all work in the same way. And these waves of fear-based propaganda coming at us. Anxiety, fear is rampant. And then, of course, for those who are not buying the narrative, then the population turns on them and calls them whatever they may be. Juden and dissidents, Western agents, and propaganda theorists. But these manipulations, the structure of a totalitarian regime, are textbook, and it comes at you all the time, and it's very blatant. And so these threats may be real or they may be imagined, but they're certainly boosted way out of context, I think. And we are left in a position of we don't know what to believe. Confusion, complete confusion. We don't know who to believe, what to believe, and there may be information that absolutely and totally shows their threat is unreal, that we just don't hear. We don't hear. We don't want to hear. Carl Jung said that people will believe what they want to believe. They will follow an illusion as long as they are safe in the womb of those protectors that are given the full information towards us. In other words, the totalitarian regime. So, again, it is turning us against each other. It is taking away our family values, taking away our income, taking away our love for each other, friends, family, not being able to see them. And another psychologist, Ivan Pavlov, did a study on dogs and their ability to follow a particular stimulus. And the dogs, they rang a bell, and the dogs would comply in the way that he wanted. And they found that this was replicable to humans as well. Humans behaved in the same sort of way. The total submissive dependency on the bell, or in other cases, other things, on the state, on what the state is providing. David Icke talks about problem and solution. And in between all that, there's a reaction. So a problem happens, some catastrophe, some great illness, some great moral change. 9/11, for instance. Problem, how we react to this, we invade a country, the other side of the world, for no apparent reason. There's no connection to 9/11. And solution. And the people feels that here is this government who can get things done. But they are actually manipulating and bringing in new legislation willy-nilly as they go along. This is a frightening concept because people actually believe this. This is where the mass psychosis comes in. This is where the absolute misinformation, manipulation of the media, where propaganda is fed to you on an hourly basis, even less than that. And the enemy is within. The enemy walks beside you. The enemy stands outside your door. The enemy could be your own family in some cases. And assaulted by all these negative emotions, all this contradictory information, all this change in understanding of what we should stand for, leaves us completely submissive. And in the modern world, I guess, too, you know, it's worrying because social media, we are completely controlled by social media. We think we're given a freedom to express ourselves, but when does freedom be taken away? If it's taken away, it's not a freedom. It's manipulation. And this brings us to this point where only the narrative of the totalitarian government is pumped forward. And no one can raise a hand and say, well, hold on. These statistics do not say what you're saying. Oh, but you must choose your right statisticians, you must choose your right scientists, you must choose your right political advisors. And another thing that I found quite ironic was that Ivan Pavlov found that the dogs reacted so much more strongly when they were separated from each other, when they haven't got the same level of support. And of course, in the human community, they haven't got the network, the family support, the ability to converse around these issues. They are locked away on their own. And that increases the power of the manipulation on the state. And again, this combined with waves and waves and waves of fear-based propaganda leaves us completely vulnerable. It's a dark picture. Because the masses willingly give up their morality, willingly give up how they were raised, the love for the family, and allow them to be used and abused. And ultimately, a totalitarian regime will end up in stagnation, destruction, and death on a mass scale. Because people will, it is my firm belief, that people will rise and say, no, no more, this is too much. I don't see the connection between this severe situation that must be in society, according to them, and the threat that is actually there. So I don't see the connection between the two. And I think that this will gain momentum as we go along. We hope. But it only takes someone to say, no, this is not right. You know, and fight against the tyranny of the totalitarian regime and mass psychosis. Because what are we talking about here? We're talking about mass madness. People allowing themselves to become mad because they're told to, because of a threat that's being pumped into them. It's horrendous. It's a horrendous concept. But it's a very real concept, and it has happened time and time again throughout history, especially in the 20th century. We see the lessons from history. We see the gas chambers. We see the gulags. We see all these people brutalized. I mean, we're only finding out, really, in the last 10, 15 years, the extent of Stalinist Russia, USSR, and the monstrous regime that was going on there. So, what do we do? What do we do? You must speak your truth. Taking a chance, It's a totalitarian regime. I mean, you'll be called all sorts of names for it, you know. So you'll be put in pigeonholes for this. So you must speak your truth. That is incredibly important. We must build structures of morality. What do you actually ask yourself now? What do you see as moral? What is an absolute, immutable human right, human connection? We must disengage with the groupthink. We must not allow ourselves to go there, to be brutalized by this onslaught of propaganda and censorship. Because it's psychotic. It's absolutely and totally psychotic. To turn man against man, brother against brother, sister against sister, it's abnormal. It's just abnormal. And it is in no way reflects the nature of humanity. They must resist it at all costs. Establish new channels of information, new groups in society. Reach out to people that you know, perhaps that are of a certain mind. We must build new structures. And it may be on a small scale in the beginning, but they will build and build and build, and more will come and come. And we will establish the new world. This will be, in the overused phrase, the new normal. We must do that. We must bring people in, and we must stand. We must stand up and say no. But for this particular series, Clouds, the spiritual connection to mental health, mass mental health in this case, we must connect to spirit. We must create calmness, community support, pushing morality and ethics, real morality and ethics, and find that spirituality in ourselves. I mean, when I say spirituality, I mean perhaps your religion as well, whatever you believe in, how spirit manifests in your life. You could be Jewish, you could be Catholic, you could be Hindu, whatever it is. We have an absolute right to carry out our worship practices, if worship is what you're doing, or connecting with spirit. We have an absolute right to do that. That's our human right. So we've got to protect that, and we've got to keep that constant in our lives. Okay, so an example of that, and this is where I'm getting to with the spirituality, is connecting in a shamanic journey. It doesn't have to be a shamanic journey. Sit down and pray. Do the rosary, mantra, whatever you believe in. Hold fast to it, because it will be your savior. It will be your life raft. So, a very short shamanic journey. And a lot of you people have been with me before through shamanic journeys, so you know what to do. We have to start off from a place of safety and security, somewhere that you know in your reality, somewhere that you feel very, very comfortable in. And we then have to find a way of going down. Again, this is another lower world journey. So whatever way you want to go down into the earth, make it your own. Down a rabbit hole, down the roots of a tree, down a waterfall, whatever it is for you. Do it that way. Breathing in to the count of 4, holding for the count of 4, and releasing for the count of 4. And keep that regular breathing pattern going, and that will calm your body, it will calm your mind. And in the face of any propaganda, any fear-based attack, this is what you have to do. So, we drum along. So hear the sound of the drum. And I see Paula on the live feed here saying freedomalliance.org. We plug Declan. www.freedomalliance.org. Wonderful bunch of people. Visualize that place of safety and security, somewhere you know, you're familiar with. Engage with this journey, bring in all your senses. Look around you in this place. Listen, smell the air. What temperature is it? Reach out and touch something, anything at all in this place. How does that feel to your hand? Is it hard? Is it soft? Now it's time to journey to the lower world. So in the manner that you've chosen to go down into the earth, do that now. And feel and see the layers of the earth. Layers of soil with roots of the trees and the plants. Layers of rock, layers of water, energizing layers of crystal. Eventually you'll find yourself standing in a green field on a beautiful summer's day. You're standing inside a stone circle, and the energy is vibrant and electric. You feel the warm sun on your forehead and shoulders. Light breeze is cooling your face. As you stand in the center of this stone circle, there are 12 stones around you. Bring in all your senses to place yourself there. Look around you. Look at everything in finite detail. Feel the grass under your feet. Smell the sweet air. And one by one, 12 people begin to appear beside you. Each one of them goes to one of the standing stones. And a druid appears in the center of the circle to direct proceedings. And in turn, he points to each standing stone, and a fantastic line of fire streaks off into the sky from that standing stone. And everyone in the stone circle is bathed in fire. Pointing to each standing stone in turn, and the line of fire shoots into the sky. Feel the power that comes down that line of fire from the heavens, from the universe, from Source, from God. Feel that now. Feel the frightening lines of fire streaking into the sky. But as you stand against the standing stone, feel the power come into you. Feel the love coming into you. Feel the belief in humanity. In your brothers and sisters. And when all the 12 lines of fire have shot off into the sky, the druid again does the circle and points to each standing stone in turn. And in doing that, a similar line of fire emanates from the heart space of each person there, emanates from your heart space, sending out your love, your humanity, your connection to the standing stone opposite you. And you are completely connected with that individual. us up, fills us to bursting point. Feel their emotions, feel their sadness coursing through your body. Feel their love, feel their life experience. And suddenly, all 12 are connected. And we are fundamentally changed by the experience of these 12 other people, these 11 other people. And we are strong. We are strong together. We are brothers and we are sisters. We are the human race. With all its negatives, but with all its positives. Love, connection, care, nurturing of family, nurturing of friends, the ability to be creative, that creative spark to begin, which can never be truly taken away. And the energy of that, as it has always done, seeps into the ground in this sacred site and fortifies the land and the rest of humanity. And the lines of fire into the sky begin to diminish and return back to the stone from where it began. And those lines of fire amongst the 12 people begin to quiet and dim. But we still feel that connection. And one by one, the 11 other people begin to disappear. And we are again alone in the middle of this stone circle. We are rejuvenated. We have been lighted. We are alive. We are human. We are real. We have a common goal. We are strong. And now it's time to return to your place of safety and security. And again, feel the familiarity, the safety in this place that you know so well. Stop for a minute and think about what you've just experienced. You've experienced real connection, real humanity, real spirituality, and the soul of feel again this body. Feel the weight of it. Feel the weight of your arms and your legs. Wiggle your toes and your fingers and ground yourself again in this body. And when you're ready, only when you're ready, open your eyes. You enjoyed that. Hope you got something meaningful there, some meaningful connection. Felt the emotions, felt the power, actually. It's incredibly important that we connect in whichever way we can. And for me, one of the most powerful ways is through the spirit, through the soul, to connect with other people. So have a think about what I've talked about tonight and see if you can see any parallels in our world, our modern world. And have a think about that. Get back to me and let me know. We're back again next Sunday at 9 p.m. I hope you can join us. And we may be back before that, actually, with the shamanic journey, but I'll let you know. Thanks for listening, folks. Good night.